Good day class. So karon ako i-discuss sa inyo ang duha ka remaining nga mga conics, ang ellipse ug ang kanang hyperbola. So let's start with the ellipse. So again, ang illustration sa ellipse is iyang shape kay oblong siya, meaning usa siya ka circle pero ang iyahang kanang kuan iyahang longitudinal side kay mas dako siya kaysa sa iyahang lateral side. Okay, so ang ellipse mas dako ang iyahang longitudinal side, and that side gitawag po na siya, so kani siya atin paglisan, so man iyahang kanang kuan longitudinal axis di ay, what I mean is the longitudinal axis, or ang pinaka usual niya nga term is the major axis. So major axis unya ang iyang measurement is kanang kuan siya 2a, and then naa siya gamay nga axis nya naka vertical siya iya orientation, and we call that small axis as the minor axis. Okay, so ang measurement po niya is 2b. So meaning from the center, okay, from the center of this ellipse towards this vertex, so we call this vertex, that is the end of every axis. So the measurement is b. The same thing in the lower part, b, and also here this is a, and also this one is a. Now the other parts, okay, so these are the vertices of the ellipse. So I'm gonna give this color red. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So most commonly ang mga known nga vertex for ellipse kay kanang naa sa major axis kaning duha, edge to edge. Okay, so sa ellipse pod, para ma-generate na ang ellipse, natay gitawag nga duha ka foci. So the foci is located somewhere from the center to the to either of the vertices along the major axis. So ato ni i-drawing diri kaning red nga dot o kaning red na dot. So these are the foci. So siya foci or focus. Okay, focus. And then ang pag-generate aning mga kuan, since ang ellipse iya basic definition is the locus of points or collection of points such that the sum of the distance from the two foci is equal to 2a. So let's say this is our point. Kani siya. Let's say this is point P with coordinates x and y. So we don't know. So igingon dito nga ang sum daw gikan ni point P padong sa ka focus og ni point P padong sa ka focus ang sama na. So we're going to label this one as D1 and D2. So this is D1 and this is D2. So the sum here, that the sum D1 plus D2 is equals to the major axis 2A. So from here, with the derivation nga naapod sa inyo ang kanang kuan module, you can get the equation for an ellipse, since sa equation dira nato ma-quantify ang forma or ang shape sa ellipse. And before that, I would like to emphasize you again sa kaning center sa ellipse. So ang ellipse na siya center, and it is defined by the coordinate h and k. Okay, h and k mo na siya. H is the value of x, k is the value of y. So for an ellipse, nana siya duha ka duha ang iyahang orientation. The first one is a horizontal ellipse. Kung ato na siya illustrate, nakaingali na siya, meaning ang iyang major axis kay naka-horizontal. So ang iyang formula for a horizontal ellipse is x minus h squared all over a squared plus y minus k squared all over b squared is equals to 1. So again, For horizontal, the A which is greater than the B because sa ellipse na butay relationship katong we can generate here kanidiri natay triangle nga ma-generate ana, and that triangle, if we're going to extract that one, we have a relationship. This one is B, this is your C, because I forgot to add here the value of C. The C is the distance from the center towards the focus, so C na siya. So therefore this is C, and automatic this is our A. So by Pythagorean, since this is a right triangle, we have the relationship A squared is equals to B squared plus C squared. So automatic A is greater than B. So this is an equation in standard form. So dapat ka-familiarize mo. This is an equation in standard form. Mas better sa standard form since inyo din makitaan ang value sa inyong center sa ellipse na H na K. Inyo po dayon makitaan ang value sa inyong A, that is the major axis, and B, the minor axis, by manipulating the denominators. Okay, so that is for horizontal ellipse. Ang second niyang position or orientation is the vertical nga ellipse. So vertical ellipse. Orientation sa vertical ellipse meaning the major axis is parallel to the y-axis. So naka-isa siya. So the standard form of a vertical ellipse kay ingon ani siya. That is x minus h squared all over b squared plus y minus k squared all over a squared is equals to 1. So this is the standard form for a vertical ellipse. Still, this is a standard form. So naka-standard form ni siya. And as you notice class, the value of A musunod siya sa kung asang axis mo parallel si major axis. So as you notice diri si A kay naa pod ni Y. Nganuman tungod kay ang major axis nato milay naman siya sa Y axis. Whereas sa horizontal ellipse si A kay naa ni X. Since sa horizontal axis ang orientation kay naka-parallel siya with respect to the X axis. Okay, so out from this standard form, we also have the general form or the general form of the equation of the ellipse. So ikatulo na itong concept about ellipse, that is the general form. Now for an ellipse, it is represented by this general form, that is ax squared plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equals to 0. Again, for an ellipse, para maka-identify dahin mo is that here na ay a, so diri ato no na for an ellipse b is equal to 0 and then a is not equal to c. So if na exist nga value sa a, then na po na exist nga value sa c. If they are not equal, so that is an ellipse, because a value of a equals c, that is a circle. Okay, so for an ellipse, that is a is not equal to c, muna siya, and then of course b is equals to 0. Again, for all conics in which their axes are parallel, either sa x or sa y, b is automatic 0. So kani siya nagpasabot ni nga the axis of the given conics, okay, of the given conics are parallel to either x or y axis in the Cartesian coordinate plane. So automatic b equals 0 dayon na siya. So this is the general form of our ellipse, ax squared plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f. Now, to convert this standard form into this general form, what you need to do is you just simplify. Simple as that. Simplify the standard form. Moro gyud na imo buhaton. Simplify the standard form and then isolating all the terms on the left side, leaving the right side equal to 0. And that is now your general form. However, if you are going to convert the general form of the ellipse equation into standard form, mo na siya medyo kanang involve siya calculation. So, ang pinaka-essence ra dira is you're going to perform what is known as completing the square. Completing the square. So, na naman tayo, nakatayo na tayo sa previous na nga mga topics. So, again, if you're going to convert standard to general, you simplify. If you're going to convert general to standard, you do completing the square. So, mana siya. And then, lastly, for an ellipse, okay, for an ellipse, na ba tayo gitawag nga the length of the latus rectum. Okay, in an ellipse, ang kaning latus rectum, so if we're going to draw again the ellipse, so ang latus rectum niya class is, diba, naman tayo duha ka foci. Foci here and on the other side. Now, if we're going to draw a line that will pass through the foci, unya mo intersect pod siya sa ato ang ellipse. So ano siya, naka-vertical line tripod sa pikas. This one, ang line nga na-generate, ang length ana niya is the length of the latus rectum. So the length of LR, the latus rectum. So to solve this, of course, you still need, you can apply this principle, kaning sum of d1 and d2 is equals to 2a. And you will get the value or the equation for the latus rectum, that is L is equals to 2b squared all over a. Okay, 2b squared all over a. So that is the length of the latus rectum bisan pag naka-horizontal or naka-vertical ang imuha ellipse. Okay, magana ang general formula for your latus rectum, that is i-square sa nimo ang minor axis, ang length sa minor axis multiplied by 2 and divided by the length of the major axis. So mara siya imuhang tigaman sa ellipse. That is, you're going to determine the standard form. Then next is i-convert ang general to standard or standard to general. Then pangitaon ang length of latus rectum. Of course, napoy other problems nga require you to find the coordinates of, let's say, the focus. So again, you need the variable c, kay ang c mo na siyang distance from the center to the focus. So if you need to solve for c, just use this principle. Sa ellipse na kay ma-generate nga right triangle, that is it deals with the relationship among the three variables a, b, and c. So na siya diri makita nato. So mara na ang imong gamiton pod pag solve. So let's try some example. Okay, problem number 1. We're given here a conic equation. Okay, 9x squared plus 4y squared is equal to 36. Now, ato i-guess if ellipse ba na siya. So, since a is equal to 9 and 9 is not equal to c because c is equals to 4, so therefore this is an ellipse. This is an ellipse. And also here, b is equals to 0. Pasabot, si ellipse, ang axis niya is either parallel to x or parallel to y. So, we have here upat ka mga requirements. The first one is the x and y intercept. The second, the coordinates of the foci. Next is the length of the major and minor axis. Then, sketch the graph. Ignore na lang natin ang letter D. We just do here mathematical solution. So, for A, solving x and y intercepts. Okay, so given man taog kanang equation, that is 9x squared plus 4y squared is equals to 36. Actually, this is not yet the general, kay kung if you're going to convert this into general equation, mahimo pa na siya 9x squared plus 4y squared minus 36x is equals to 0. So, dapat, again, sa general form, dapat naka-0 na sa right side. So, this is now the general form. of your ellipse. Okay, so next, since pasolve naman ta sa x and y intercepts, again, sa ito principle, if we are going to solve for the x-intercept, so solving x-intercept, just make y is equal to 0, diba? And the same thing, kung magkita po tag y-intercept, kuan ra, i-letra si x equals to 0. So let's do that. So mahimo ni siya og 9x squared plus 4 times 0 squared is equals to 36. So that would be a 9x squared is equals to 36. I mean, divide by 9 pa. Divide by 9, so x squared is equals to the square root of 36 divided by 9. So the answer is plus and minus. 36 divided by 9 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So plus and minus 2. So we have here two intercepts. We have the first intercept is 2. Second intercept is negative 2. Okay, mo na siya. Ito ang unang answer. Next, proceed ta sa y-intercept. So, ito ikuan. Solving for y-intercept. Again, kung mag y-intercept ta, set x is equals to 0. Okay, kay meaning ana milay unsay value sa y nga milay siya sa x-axis. Okay, so we have here 9x squared plus 4y squared is equals to 36. So make x equals 0. 9 times 0 squared plus 4y squared is equals to 36. So mas 0 na ni. Divide by 4. So na-add ay y squared is equals to this is 9. Square root of 9, we have y sub 1 is equals to 3. Y sub 2 is equals to negative 3. So we have two intercepts here. Two y-intercept. The same thing with x-intercept. So that's it. If required ang coordinates, so just use the ordered pair and then i-let nimo for x-intercept, let ang y 0. And for y-intercept, let ang x 0. Okay, so mala na siya. Proceed ta sa ikaduha. Okay, the second one for B, we are to find the coordinates of the foci, meaning katong duha ka focus. So here naatay equation sa ato ang ellipse. We have given equation 9x squared plus 4y squared is equals to 36. Dapat ato siya ma-convert into the standard form, kaysa standard form dito na to makita dayon ang iyang mga parameters. So dapat nimo siyang x minus h squared all over a squared plus y minus k squared all over b squared is equals to 1. So here, medyo duol-duol na ta. What we need to do here para madali, divide both sides by 36 so that we can create 1 on the right side. So we now have 9 over 36 x squared plus 4 over 36 y squared is equals to 1. Here 9 divided by 36, that is 1/4, or that is x squared all over 4 plus 4 divided by 36 is 9, so y squared all over 9 is equals to 1. So here, kung asay mas dako nga denominator, mo na siya ang a. So diri since ang bigger nga denominator kay naa sa y, so pasabot ani is the ellipse is oriented vertically. Okay, si ellipse oriented vertically since a is at the y variable. Okay, so naman siya dira because si 4 mas gamay. So therefore, therefore here we can say that a is equal to the square root of 9, that is equal to 3. B is equal to the square root of 4, that is equals to 2. Okay. In solving for the coordinates of the foci, so as you remember sa ato ellipse, muna ito ellipse, muna ito ang mga major axis, minor axis. So nadiri ato ang foci duha. So ang distance yan from the center is c. So dapat ato kuha niyang coordinates. And since here, based sa atong na generate ng standard form, since wala man tayo any other variable sa x o sa y, so therefore kani siya is center at origin. That is, the h value is 0, while k value is 0. Okay, so let's solve for c. So solving for c, apply po to ato ang Pythagorean. Katong right triangle nga nag-relate sa ellipse. This is b, this is a, and c. So therefore, we have c is equal to the square root of the difference of the square of a and b. So that is square root of a squared is 9 minus b squared is 4. The answer is square root of 5. So that is our c. Okay? I hope nyo nakuha. So since nanatay c, therefore, the the coordinates of the foci that is here is negative c, since moment and center. Then this is 0, and then the other one is we have positive c and then 0. Given that we already know the center of the ellipse, kaya if wala pa na yung center sa ellipse, kung ang ellipse kayo wala sa origin, that is naka h and k, so therefore we need to subtract or add the coordinates of this foci. Okay, so therefore our f1 coordinates kay negative square root of 5 and then 0, then f2 is positive square root of 5 and then 0. Okay, so ato na siya enclose. So muna siya itong answer. That is for the coordinates of the foci. And lastly, that is for for letter B, find the length of the major and minor axis. So the length of the major and minor axis. Again, for major axis, so that is major axis, we already know that one, that is equal to twice a. So since we already know a, that is 3, so that is 2 times 3, our major axis measures 6 units. Now, for the minor axis, mao ni siya sa ellipse, kaning naka-vertical. Kung naka-horizontal, horizontally oriented ang ellipse, ang minor axis is the vertical axis, kaning gamay. So, that thing measures twice the b. And the b is 2, so we have 2 times 2. We have 4 units for our minor axis. So, mana siya to ang duha ka mga answers. 6 units for our minor axis, major, then 4 units for our minor. So, mas dako gini si major axis. Okay? So, inganaw na pag-solve o ingani nga example sa ellipse nga mga problem. I hope nga naka-follow man ni og inyo nindot-an. Let's proceed to the next one. So, gingon diri is reduce the equation of the ellipse to standard form. So, here we are given a general form. Now, let's verify if tinuod ba gyud ni nga ellipse. So, here we don't have b term because the b is ingani siya class bxy. So, since we don't have xy nga term, so wala ta. B is 0. Therefore, ang axis sa ellipse, duha ka buok, ang major ug minor kay nakalay sila either parallel sa y and x axis. What else? We have value of a which is equals to 9 and not equal to the value of c which is equal to 4. So therefore, this is a legit nga ellipse gini siya. Okay, so this form, ang given nato, this is in, saan ni siya? This is in general form. So, giingon man rin nga reduce the equation into standard form. So, again, unsa to ikuan from if mag-simplify ka from general to standard, we're going to use completing the square. So let's do that. Solution. So nga niyon pag perform ang katong completing the square. So right here 9x squared plus 4y squared minus 24y minus 72x plus 144 is equals to 0. Here, i-grupo ang mga variables nga na x. So, we have 9x squared minus 72x. I-grupo po ang na mga y. So, plus 4y squared minus 24y. Then, i-transpose ang constant on the other side. So, negative 144. Here, kanang do completing the square for each variable, x and y. So, here, mas better nga i-extract sa sina ni x squared kay mas madali ang completing the square kung wala na coefficient other than 1 ang ato ang x squared o ang y squared po. So extracting 9, we have 9 multiplied by x squared minus 72. So nag-extract tag 9, i-over na tog 9 x then plus 4 multiplied by y squared minus 24 divided by 4 y is equals to negative 144. So, simplifying, mahimo na siyang 8, di ba? 9 times 8 is 72 man. Then, plus 4 times y squared minus, this is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Equals to negative 144. Now, in completing the square, atong kulang na is ang third term. So, to solve for the third term, divide this coefficient term by 2 and then squared. The same thing with here, negative 6 divided by 2 and then squared. So let's do that. We now have 9 times x squared minus 8x. Negative 8 divided by 2, that is negative 4 squared positive 16. Then plus 4 times y squared minus 6y. So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3 squared, that is positive 9. It's equal to negative 144. Since sa left side, nagdagdag man taog 9 times 16 and 4 times 9. So, therefore, ato man siya idagdag sa right side. So, we have sa right side di ay, we have plus 9 times 16, then plus 4 times 9. So, here, ato na siya ma-factor out kay this is already a perfect square. So, we have x minus 4 squared plus 4 times y minus 3 squared is equals to kana ato na siya i-simplify. Mahimo na siya og negative 144 plus 9 times 16 plus 9 times 4 is 36. So we have here 36. So natay 36. So since in mata kailangan yun nato siya i-transform into standard form and we know that the standard form is x minus h squared all over a squared plus y minus k squared all over b squared is equals to 1. So here, medyo hapit na. What we need to do is, we just need to make the right side equal to 1. So para ma-equal to 1 ni siya, we're going to divide both sides by 36. So divide h by 36. This one 36. So what happens? 9 divided by 36, that is 1/4. So we have here x minus 4 squared divided by 4 plus 4 divided by 36 is 9. So we have y minus 3 squared all over 9 is equals to 1. So here, since the bigger denominator lies on the y term, so therefore this is an ellipse that is oriented vertically. Okay? So naka-vertical din siya nga ellipse wherein our a here, the values of our a, the major half of the major axis is equals to 3 because that is the square root of 9, and then the minor axis iyang katunga kay is equals to 2 which is equal to the square root of 4. Mo ni siya dira. And then out from this kani ang ato ang standard form, so naka standard form ni standard form, which is mo na ato ang final answer. So from the standard form, makita po ta sa ato ang -4 and -3, which is our, which are our values for the coordinates of our center of ellipse. So ang center sa ellipse, center at hk, so x minus h man eh. So since negative na, therefore h is equals to 4 and then k is equals to 3. So muna siya. And of course, ang ipangitarman kay kanira. So if you already have this, that is the standard form na. So then mo na ato ang final answer. Again, ang gibuhat diri ani nga area. So kani siya. Kani diri, completing the square gini siya and algebraic manipulation. Okay, completing the square. So remember those concept nga tong i-discuss sa una. Okay, so proceed ta sa problem number 3. So what if gitas na punta nga papangitaon ang kanaang equation sa ellipse nga naalay mga given nga mga information about the center, the focus, and the vertex. So again, let's start with the center. So we have center. From the given, we have h is equals to 2, k is equals to -2. We also have the focus. So ang focus, ang usa niya kay naa siya sa 4, meaning we have our, maybe the other one, maybe the c here, or we don't know, so just say x is equals to 4, and then we have y is equals to -2. Then we have the vertex. Okay, we have the vertex, that is ang x value po niya is equal to 7, y po niya is equals to kanang -2. Okay, so we all know class sa ellipse. Okay, we all know that an ellipse class, this is the major axis, this is the minor axis. Muna siya ato ang muna ito atong baka foci, then muna ito vertex kani nasa major axis. So if this is the if this is a Cartesian coordinate system wherein this is the center, the muna siya ang measurement sa to center class sa ellipse h and k. So unsa kay coordinates sa kani siya? So ato ko anon diri, this is c, di ba? And also this is c, and we know that this one is a. Okay, so para makakasuwat ta og formula for the standard form of an ellipse, imaw man ni siya standard form is x minus h squared all over a squared plus y minus k squared all over b squared is equals to 1. So kailangan naatay h, naatay k. So here we already have the value, but we don't have a and b yet. So here to analyze. So as you notice class, ang kaning ato ang vertex, kani ato ang center, the focus, and the vertex, they must have the same value of y. Okay, because kung ato siya i-plot, same sila og k. So as you notice here, ang y po dili sa focus kay -2, as a vertex po -2. So therefore, sakto ni nga ang atong ellipse diri kay naka-orient sila vertically, because the general formula for vertex, okay, formula for vertex, that is ang iyahang x value is just equal to h plus a, and then iyaha y value is just equal to k. Now here, since namatay value sa focus, that is 4, tinapotay h, so therefore we can now solve for a. Okay, kay mamani ang kwan sa coordinates ato vertex x. So therefore, namatay given nga x, that is 4. So we now have a is equals to x minus h. So that is ang x sa focus. So xf na sa focus 4 minus h is 2. So that is equal to 2. So we now have a. How about for b? So man tagid kay ang b kay mao man siya gikan diri pa lang diri, so lisod man kay na siya, but we have c. Now ngano makakuha ta og c? Okay, sorry, ang di day focus ato ang kanan diri, ato diri is ang vertex man, no? So ang vertex diri is not the focus katong sa tip. So that is again x sa vertex is equals to h plus a. So that is a is equals to xv minus h. So xv is mo ni siya kaning 7. So we have here 7 minus h is 2. So we have here 5. That is the value of RA. Now to solve for c, kay namatay relationship between a, b, and c. So nakayaman a sa ellipse ni siya b and c. So to solve c, so solving for c, kahibaho ta nga kani siya diri, that is equal to xf. Okay, xf gihapon na siya, that is the x value of your focus. So we have here xf is equal to the h plus c. So solving for c, that is xf minus h. xf man is siya sa focus, that is equal to 4. So that is 4 minus 2. We have c is equals to 2. So since naman tayo values ni a and c, ang kuwang na lang kay si b. So ito ibutan diri, solving for b. So using this Pythagorean theorem nga na-generate sa ellipse, so we have a squared is equals to b squared plus c squared. So we have b squared is equals to a squared minus c squared. So b is the square root of, ang a is 5, so 5 square is 25 minus c is 2, that is 4. So we have square root of 21. So that is our b, or the b squared is just equal to 21. So nanatay b na natatanan, so therefore we can now write the standard form of this ellipse. So ito yung standard form, that is x minus h is 2 squared all over, ang a na to is 5 man, so a squared is 25 plus y minus, ang k na to is negative 2, so y minus negative 2, that is y plus 2. So we have y plus 2 squared all over b squared. So b here is, b squared is 21, so put here 21 is equals to 1. So this is now our standard form of ellipse. So standard form of our given nga ellipse. Now kung gusto kag i-general form na siya, just simplify this and equate the right side to 0. Mara siya ko. Ang anigay nga klase sa problem, yung buhaton is, mas namay gid ko ni siya i-plot sa daan para kay mo kung unsa ba ni siya, naka horizontal ba ni or naka vertical nga pagka ellipse. Okay, so proceed ta sa next. This time mag-try tag mga application sa ellipse. So usa sa mga application sa ellipse is kaniya sa ato solar system. So let's say ang revolution sa mga planet. So ang revolution sa planet is not circular, that is elliptic. So here, let's say this is our sun. Okay, muna to sun. Actually nag-revolve ta. So sa pag-revolve nato sa sun, na ay kanang instances nga na instance nga duol ta niya. So let's say mo ni ang earth. So ang kana nga distance kung duol gay ta mo na siya apogi. So apogi pinakaduol nga nya na po tayo time nga layo kay ta. Okay, e. Meaning ang distance niya is perigi. Okay? Mo na siya. So here, if naatay kanang shortest distance sa sun, natay longest, of course, natay mean distance. And the mean is between here. So natay mean niya diri. And as you notice class, mura na siya og kay since ko ito na i-trace elliptic man so paana siya. So kung inyo nakita natay unsa man ato nakita diri is kanang kuanta nakaporma tawag ellipse wherein mo yung center. So ato emphasize this is the kanang minor axis then the major axis. So as you notice the sun is considered as the focus. Of course natay assume nga virtual po diri which is mirror sa sun another focus pod. So naka-generate data og ellipse and the apogi ang distance ra ning apogi this is just kay di ba we all know sa ellipse this is our C. C is the distance from the mean distance and then from the mean the mean center towards the earth this is A. So therefore ang atong apogi kani siya this is A minus C and the perigi kani siya diri this is just equal to A plus C kani siya. So gamit kayo ang application anis sa kaning movement or motion sa ato ang mga planets. So here ato ikuan kung unsa mga given niini. So again ang farthest nga distance kay perigi, shortest distance sa pogi. So yun diri the major axis of the elliptical path in which the earth moves around the sun is approximately 186 million miles. So see baling layo kaayo. Okay, layo jud kaayo. Okay class, ato day iterate. So kani siya baliktad. So sorry. Kani siya ang pinaka shortest day nga distance sa earth sa sun. Iyan term kay perigi. So perigi but perigi man or perigi then apogi or apogi kamo na bahala. So mo na siya and then ang given diri so we have a given ingon man diri nga the major axis of the elliptical path of the earth is 186 million miles. So the major axis here is the sum of apogi and perigi. Okay? So therefore ang ato adayng kuan ang ato adayng 2a is equal to 186 million miles. So layo kaayo kay mao man ato ang major axis. So this is our major axis, the length of the major axis. Next na po day gihatag nga eccentricity sa ellipse. So eccentricity represented by E. Eccentricity is 1/60. Okay class, but before that ato sa ikuan og unsa ning gitawag nga eccentricity sir? So unsa ning gitawag nga eccentricity? Okay, wala may na-covered. So eccentricity. eccentricity. So let's start with the circle. So eccentricity for circle. So ang definition mo sa eccentricity is that is the ratio. E is the ratio of D1 and D2. Wherein D1 is distance from fixed point, and the fixed point to the kanang point on the conic, and then ang dito is the distance from a fixed line to the point of the conic. So again, ang first nga distance is from the fixed point, ikaduha nga distance is from the fixed line. So for circle, going to do the circle class, we know that the center of the circle is the fixed line, and of course ang points ana is nagre-revolve sa circle at same distance. So ato take nga man siya ang point mo di po ni dagan kaayo. So considering 1 point, let's say here, so D1 here is kanisiya mo ni ang D1, that is the distance of this point to the fixed point. So the fixed point here is the center. Now, ang gitawag po ning fixed line, mo na gitawag nga directrix. For a circle, ang ihang directrix class is very far. Like, ang distance ani from this point is ma-approach like infinity. So this is the directrix. The directrix of our kanang kuan circle. So layo kan siya. So therefore, if we're going to take the ratio of this, E is equals to D1 over D2. So that is D1 is R all over infinity. So a certain quantity divided by a larger number, the result is 0. So therefore, for circle, ang value sa iyang eccentricity is equals to 0. So proceed ta sa second one. That is for the parabola. So for a parabola class, muna iyahang forma. Na si curve, inasiya diri ang iyahang directrix. Or ato siya ilisdan og color. So muna iyahang directrix. So directrix. Ang iha pong kanang fixed point, mo siya gitawag nga focus. Focus po ni siya, di na siya center. So focus mo na iyahang fixed point, focus. So by definition sa parabola class, if na siya point, these are a locus of points such that ang distance ani niya, okay, ang distance ani nga point from the fixed point mo ning focus, this is D1, is equal daw sa distance of this point to the fixed line, which is the directrix. So D2. Again, parabola, inyon siya nga D1 is equals to D2. Mo na siya ang locus of points. Definition sa parabola. Now, if we're going to plug that one sa ato ang equation sa eccentricity, E is equals to D1 over D2. So, may man siyang D1 over D1 that is equal to 1. So, therefore, for a parabola, ang iyang eccentricity kay equal to 1. So, humana ta sa circle o sa parabola. Next is proceed ta sa ellipse o sa hyperbola. So, ikatulo, ellipse. Ellipse and hyperbola. Okay, an ellipse, muna yung drawing sa to ellipse. Muna ang major axis, minor axis and major axis. So, ayan directrix is na diri. Naa sa side. Yan, nagkatubang siya sa, perpendicular siya sa major axis. So, directrix nga sa ikaduha nga directrix. Again, natay duha ka focus mo ng duha ato directrix. Natay focus nga sa F1, ikaduha nga focus F2. So, the distance from the center to the directrix, ang sukod ano niya is D. This is D. So again, mana siya D, and then the distance from focus to the center is C. And the distance from the vertex, naman tayo vertex diri, this is A. Okay, so the same thing po sa right side. So this is A. Okay, so since by definition sa eccentricity for any conics, that is kanang kuan the ratio of D1 and D2. So ang D1, let's say if nata diri ay point along the ellipse, so iya distance ani nga point from the fixed point kaning ato focus, this is D1, then iya pong distance padong sa directrix, this is D2. So for an ellipse, that is E is equals to D1 all over D2. Okay, so muna siya. And here di man ta kakuan good kung unsa good in terms of the parameters pod nga nasa ellipse ba, kay lisod man kay unsa may D1 unsa may D2. So kanang para ato na para ato na siya ma-quantify, then ato na siya solbon. So here ang ato ani is kung inyo makita even sa pag-visualize nato diri so pag-visualize pa lang ato makita nga si D1 is less than D2. So automatic sa ellipse ang iyang eccentricity kay kung gamay ni si D1 kaysa ni D2, so therefore that would be less than 1. So for an ellipse, that is less than 1. So ato pod pangitaon kung unsay formula sa ellipse in terms of the parameters given. So what if ang kaniatong line nga gi-assign ato siya ibalhin diri what if ato siya iputang diri sa vertex sa major axis. Now kung mag-drawing tag drag line, so this would now be the line, this is D1, and then this is the second line, this is D2. As you notice, D1 mao man ni ganiya kung ato na extract maka-form ta dira og right triangle wherein this is B, C, and automatic A ni siya. So therefore our A here is equals to D1 is A all over D2. The D2 is just equal to D here, which is the distance of the directrix from the center of the ellipse. Or further derivation po niini, ang value sa atong eccentricity is also equal to the ratio of C all over A. Okay, so that's why we have A squared is equals to CD. Again, you can choose either of this formula, kaning A over D or C over A. And this formula also applies to hyperbola. So for hyperbola, let's say this is our hyperbola. So kani siya. Then we have the two foci. So na diri. And of course, ang iya directrix kay naa between aning nga linya So na diri. Kung ito i-take ang usa ka point on the hyperbola, even diri so inyo makita ang distance ani niya nga point padong ari, this is D1, and then diri padong ari this is D2. So kung mo reach ang point diri so meaning this is D1 and then this is D2. Kung tarong nato og drone, natay trend nga E is equals to D1 over D2 again. This is the directrix and the fixed point. So diri opposite siya sa ellipse because D1 now is unsa man diri si D1 kay mas dako na siya kay ni dito. So D1 now is greater than D2. So ang trend niya is the eccentricity for a hyperbola is greater than 1. Kung nyo nakita sa figure. So again, for a hyperbola, you can use this. So this is the formula for ellipse and hyperbola. For parabola class, wa na siya formula kay automatic any type of parabola eccentricity is equal to 1. The same thing with circle, whatever the circle is, even if naglalag radius, eccentricity is 0. So only ellipse and hyperbola natay known nga formula, which is the ratio of the length, half length of the major axis all over the distance of the directrix from the center, or equal to the distance from the center towards the focal point all over the half length of the major axis, that is A. So muna siya atong gamiton to answer this problem because we are given eccentricity 1 over 60. So if we have this, we can equate this given to C all over A. Kaya muna itong nakuha diri sa ato ang pag-discuss about eccentricity. So we're going to use that one. So again, just take note sa principle sa eccentricity. That is the ratio of the distance from the point on the conics to the fixed point all over the distance from the fixed line to the point on the conics. Okay, so ito na erase. And let's continue answering this problem. So here, ang gipangita diri, so required is the apogee of the earth. So the apogee of the earth is just equal to A plus C. Okay, so here we can solve for A, diba? Kaya naman ta from the given. So this is what solution. So we know apogee A is equals to A plus C, and we know that A is equals to 186 million miles divided by 2, so we have A is equals to 93 million miles. 93 million miles, that is A. Now, ang sunod na lang nga itong pangitaon is C. So since namatay formula sa eccentricity, so solving for C, kani siya kay solving for A. So solving for C, we'll know from eccentricity, so we have C over A is equals to 160. Solving for C, so we have C is equals to A over 60. So A is 93 million miles divided by 60. Now the measurement of our C, ito na siya i-divide, 93 million divided by 60. The answer is 15 million. So 15 million 500, 1 million na lang din siya. So may mo lang ni siya og 1 million then 550,000 miles. So adding C and A, mo na ang atong apogee sa atong earth. So therefore A here is equals to 93 million plus 1,550,000 miles. So A is equals to plus 93 million, that is 94 million na siya. 94 million 550,000 miles. Mo nang apogee sa ato ang earth. Okay, so mana siya. So again, ayaw kalimot ang atong discussion sa eccentricity. So mana siya ang sa mga real application sa ato ang ellipse. Okay, so proceed ta sa ato ang second problem. So we have here a racetrack is in shape of an ellipse. So naratay racetrack. Okay, iya shape kay ellipse. So ingon siya 100 feet long. So pasabot aning 100 feet long mo na siya yung major axis. So it has a major axis that measures 100 feet in length. Okay, so 100 feet in length. And the next is 50 feet in wide. So that is the minor axis. 50 feet in wide. Okay, so muna siya. So assuming coordinates, mag-coordinate system ta, assuming that this is an ellipse center at 0, 0 at the origin. So what is the width daw? 10 feet from the vertex. So natay vertex diri ug napo to sa pikas. So bisag asa nga vertex, same ra gyud to makuha. So ingon man siya ang width daw kuno sa ellipse kung naka 10 feet away ta sa vertex. So let's say here, this is 10 feet. So somewhere here ato i-project. So pila daw kunoy width ni ini diri adapit kani. So meaning we now have the coordinates, di ba? Natay coordinates nga kani siya. Tadakon. So this one, this is 90, di ba? Our x here from the origin, this is 90. Okay, 90 plus, I mean, this is ano pala, this is not 90, this is 40, kay half naman. This is 40. So nanatay x value ang 40, or you can also have it here. Anyway, same ra gyapon. This is still 10 and this is 40. Ato gipangita diri is kani siya. Mo na atong gipangita. So to solve that, pwede ka mag-consider og point and solve for y. So let's say kani siya nga point. Point here is this is 40, the value of x is 40, but y here is y lang kay wa man ta kay baw pilay sukod ano niya gikan sa y axis, I mean sa x axis. So mo tang ipangita. Now from this information, since we are given the parameters a that is equal to 100 divided by 2, that is half of the major axis, so that is 50, and then b is also half of the minor axis, that is equal to 25. And since we assume that the racetrack center at the origin, so we have the the standard form. So we can create the standard form. The standard form of our ellipse. So that is x squared. Ito din ilisdan og color. So we have x squared all over a. A squared is 50. So 50 squared, we have 2,500. So 2,500 plus y squared all over b. B is 25. So 25 squared is 625. 625 is equals to 1. So ato gipangita diri ay si y. Since namatay x from the point here nga 40, so unsa kay y dira? So solving for y, so we have y squared all over 625 is equals to 1 minus x squared all over 2,500. So I now have y squared is equals to 625 multiplied by 1 minus x squared all over 2,500. Taking the square root, so we have y is equals to the square root of 625 times 1 minus, so diri as naman tagi assignment diri nga kanin siya nga point is ang x value is 40. So we have 1 minus 40 squared all over 2,500. So our y here to solve, we have 625 times 1 minus 40 squared all over 2,500. So the answer here is 15. So y is 15. That is 15 feet. Now since yun man the width, so that is the length here is just equal to 2y. That is 2 times 15, that is equals to 30 feet. So therefore this is the width of an ellipse that is 10 feet away from the vertex. So muna siya 30 feet. mo ni ato answer. So mo na siya isukod gikan diri kani. Mo ni ang width niya. That is 10 meters away from this vertex. Okay, so let's proceed now to hyperbola. So ang hyperbola, so ang atong hyperbola class, mura na siya og kanang duha na siya ka parabola nga nagtalikod. So let's say mo ni siya ang first nga part, then ang second nga part. Then same sa ellipse, nagyapon na siya duha ka mga axis. So ang horizontal axis niya mo na siya ato ang gitawag nga kanang transverse axis. So transverse axis. And then ang vertical pod kani diri that is perpendicular to the transverse axis, mo siya gitawag nga conjugate axis. Okay, so unlike sa ellipse, wala gi kuan sa ilaha nga wala assurance nga si transverse axis kay all the time siya nga kanang taas compared ni conjugate, because na may kanang panahon nga si conjugate mas taas siya ni transverse. Let's say kuan na siya nga condition kung ang ato ang hyperbola is kanang kuan na siya, may shift siya vertically. So this the orientation of this hyperbola nga akong gidrawing is kuan na siya, naka-orient siya horizontally. So man siya ay mga parts. And still naana pud gihapon to ang center sa atong hyperbola. So kaning red, this is the center of our hyperbola. And then kani pud siya same ra gihapon sa ellipse, since this is the tip. So ato na siya ma-considered as the vertex of our hyperbola. So ang atong hyperbola, the same with the parabola pod na siya focus along sa curve. So duha ni kabuok, that's why this is foci. So ang kuan, ang designation sa mga parameters, so ito ni appeal, this is foci or focus. Kaya sa naman, so duha gyapon ka focus or foci na siya. So here, magamit gyapon nato ang katong mga parameters nga atong gi-apply sa ellipse. Katong that is the distance from center to vertex, ato siya gi-indicate sa variable nga a. So diri mo gyapon center to vertex, this is a. And then from the center to the focus, that is c. So in the hyperbola class, lahi na siya sa ellipse kay diri si a mas gamay na kaysa ni c. Kay sa ellipse man gud si a man to mas dako ni c. So diri si c na mas dako. And then si b still the length of the conjugate axis. Of course, naman na siya diri imaginary nga rectangle. So if we're going to do the imaginary rectangle, mo na siya, mo na ato and then the height of this rectangle is equal to 2b. So that is the upper one measures b units, the lower one is b. So diri lahi na pod nga triangle ang ato ang ma-generate. So diba sa ellipse is ang a may hypotenuse, but this time for hyperbola, ang ato na pod diri is again si b is always the vertical b. Here si a na pod ang usa ka side, so automatic si c na diri. So therefore magamit na nato ang relationship nga c squared is equals to a squared plus b squared. Ato na siya ma-manifest by this one. So magdraw ta dira og diagonal, so mana siya ang right triangle nga ma-generate. And also sa hyperbola class, napod ni siya asymptotic line. So ang asymptotic line can be drawn from the center towards sa kaning point nag-intersect ang measurement ni a ug b, or at the tip or one corner of this imaginary rectangle atong gidrawing. Then mo straight na siya, mura siya mo come closer sa kaning hyperbola pero di siya mag-meet. So ato na extend gadto diri so the same thing diri extend to, and then diri So mo na siya ato ang asymptote na nato. Okay, that is a line. So here giunsa man pag-generate sa hyperbola. So let's say naatay kuan define nga point here. So this is point P. Natay x and y. So ang hyperbola mo gud kay collection na siya sa point such that ang difference na pud. So opposite kay sila sa ellipse kay diri ang difference daw sa distance sa point P from the first fixed point, this is D1, and the second point kaning dito. So this is D2, whichever mas dako, so that is D2 minus D1 na lang kay mag negative man. Ang difference ana nila is equal to 2a. So that is D2 minus D1 is equals to 2a. So again, opposite sila sa ellipse kay sa ellipse kay ang sum man sa hyperbola kay difference man. So the derivation yani niya makita po ninyo sa kanang kuan sa atong module. So here, since duha man ka orientation ng hyperbola, the same with ellipse, so we're going to to determine the standard form of the hyperbola for both orientation. So let's start with hyperbola oriented horizontally. So horizontal orientation sa hyperbola. So in standard form, we have na siya x minus h squared all over a squared minus na since subtraction na, so minus na ikaduha, so minus y minus k squared all over b squared is equal to 1. So ang naka-differential gid nila sa ellipse kay addition sa ellipse sa hyperbola kay kanang kuan subtraction. So this is now our standard form. Next, proceed ta sa kanang vertical. Sa vertical nga hyperbola, mahimo na siya og ingon ani siya y minus k squared all over b squared. Okay, I mean this is b squared gyapon siya, and then minus kani siya x minus h squared all over a squared is equals to 1. Okay, is equals to 1. Oh, I forgot, ang kanida siya musunod na ni siya ngadto, may interchange na sila. So this is a squared and then b squared. So here, since ato naman na-rotate, so ang makuanan sa kuan class, ang makuanan sa ang matimaan nga ni-rotate na siya is the negative sign. So ang negative sign class kung asa siya nabutang either x or y, kung na siya sa y, meaning si y mo ni gunit sa conjugate nga axis. So muna siya itong ipakita sa figure. Now here, since ang negative kay sa x man, so therefore si x na diri ang conjugate axis. So si y na pod ang transverse. Mao nang pa-vertical na pod siya. Paing-ani na pod ang iyahang illustration. Paing-ana, then paing-ana. So you can see, mo ni ang transverse, mo ni ang conjugate. So therefore, nang negative man siya, so si x na ang ato ang conjugate nga axis. And here, dili na ingon nga ang a nato kay dako kaysa ni b. So here we can have three possible kanang values for our a and b. So a can be greater than b, or a less than ni b, or a kay equal siya ni b. So kaning tulo ka mga conditions kanang possible ni sila nga mahitabo sa ato ang kanang hyperbola. So mo na siya ato ang standard form. Katulo ato i-discuss ang general form sa atong hyperbola. So the general form. Ang general form sa parabola, ingon ani siya. So from the general form po siya sa conics, that is ax squared minus cy squared then plus dx plus ey plus f is equals to 0. Or ato equal in general term, that is plus minus, and then this is minus plus. So meaning, sa ato ang hyperbola, ato na masabtan kung una, b is equals to 0. Kaduha is a is not equal to c. Okay, a is not equal to c. Siyempre, kaya naman, tungod kay si a has opposite sign with c, or vice versa. So kung opposite kay sila, meaning si a kay positive, si c kay negative ang coefficient, so therefore automatic hyperbola na siya. So again, mara na inyong bantayan pag detect kung hyperbola ba ni siya or dili. So kung sa hyperbola, maglaylay ra ang sign sa ato ang coefficient ni a o ni c. So same thing pod ganiha class, if we're going to convert the standard form of the equation of our hyperbola into general form, what you need to do is simplify lang. Okay, simplify lang. And now, same thing with ellipse. If you do the reverse, that is from general to standard, use the principle of completing the squares. So, completing the squares. Completing the squares. So, mara siya class. Then next, ikaapat na principle sa ma-apply po sa hyperbola is kitawag nga the line of asymptote. So, ang line of asymptote class, so mara siya ang gidawin kaning blue. Well, ang iya derivation ana is, if we're going to have these 2 points, kani siya kung nag-consider kani siya o kaning center. So, kung tayo siya i-draw diri, this is the point and this one center. So, muna siya. So, we have 2 points here. So, assuming the coordinates of the center is h and k, and then since kay bawon naman ta sa sukod area, this is a, and then this is b. So, therefore, the coordinates here is h plus a, and then k plus b. So, using the kanang kuan, katong point slope ng formula, so we have y minus, considering that this is 1, 0.1, and 0.2. So, y minus y sub 1 is equals to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 times x minus x sub 1. So, we have here y minus k is equals to y2 minus y1, that is k plus b minus k all over h plus a minus h, then x minus h. So here we have y minus k is equals to b over a, then x minus h. So this is the general formula for the line of asymptote. Now b over a here represents the slope of our asymptote. Kani b over a represents the slope. That is the ratio of the length of the transverse axis and the length of the conjugate and the transverse. So the slope of the asymptotic line. So marami po ning upat class. Wala na lang ang latus rectum. So walay latus rectum ang hyperbola. Ang latus rectum ma-apply na siya sa ellipse ug sa parabola. Okay, so let's have some example problem for hyperbola. So not a day solve daw for the center.